Hello and welcome! Tonight on the show, if you are feeling down, allow us to pick you up with some Pickapeppa sauce from Jamaica. It's terrific. We are so excited you are here with us tonight. Thank you for listening. Of course, this is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. We are Sauce Spoken. We are the podcast detailing your favorite dips, condiments, and sauces. And today, we're going to be taking a little trip down south to Jamaica, man. Okay, I'm not going to do it for the rest of the episode.
Wow. Had to get it out of your system, didn't you?
I'll be...
Go ahead. Go nuts.
No, I'll be your host, Adam. I'm joined here this week by my co-host, Tori.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, today we are talking a little bit of sunshine, a ray of sunshine. We have a Jamaican sauce here, if you couldn't already tell. And to my right, as always, E.
Hello. Hello, everyone. No, ray of sunshine sounds nice for how the weather's been recently.
Otherwise, yes.
Stark contrast to you, the Eeyore of our group.
Aw. But everyone still loves me.
E.
How about that? It really
true.
is like Eeyore. Nothing wrong with being a little bit more of a realist and a little more down to earth.
A little personal rain cloud follows you around.
That's right.
Realist, huh?
Okay.
We're going with that?
Maybe I'm just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a little bit of a downer.
We were just having a little personal discussion about what you do in your free time, Eric. Do you want to give us a little bit of a recap on that, or what else was going on with you this week?
Sure, I'd be happy to, because, usually I'm always talking about my 3D printer and whatnot. My 3D printer has actually been down, but I need to do some research on it, figure out what's going on with it. So, haven't touched it all week, but I did get moving on.
Is your filament dry?
Filament is dry. I think
Is
my
it too dry?
rails are slipping.
Oh, shit. You need a rail dryer now.
Yeah. I just need to figure out what the right tension is on the rails, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I need to do some research. Either that or it's getting too cold, since we're having this cold snap right now. Possibly the higher it goes up in the Z-axis, it's just traveling too far away from the heated bed, so that way I cannot maintain the heat level I need to actually have adhesion between my layers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please continue.
That sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Wowee.
I'm thrilling you guys with my boring...
Well,
anyways.
how much is the outside temperature affecting the inside of your house, though? That's my main confusion. You're talking about like different tropical like climate zones within like a 4-inch movement vertically, and you're talking about the inside of your house. I mean, you're sandwiched for the listeners that don't know. Eric lives in a townhouse. He's sandwiched between two other houses, and they're essentially the thickest insulation you're going to get. I mean, the difference between heat in your house week to week is imperceptible, I would think.
I would think so too. That's why I'd be very surprised if it was a heat issue. I mean, the bed is supposed to be at 60 Celsius. Right.
60 Celsius?
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking hot.
It's pretty hot.
Okay.
And that's in the heater, actually, that heats the filament is at 50
How many is that
Celsius.
in Fahrenheit? We always like to do live conversions.
I know. I actually looked it up. I think, 50 degrees Celsius is like 125 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Right.
So 60 is probably around 140 is this bed temperature.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
So if I hit I turn my thermostat down to 65 when I go to bed. And
is that Celsius or Fahrenheit?
That's
now?
Fahrenheit.
Oh, you're confusing me.
So, maybe that is just too cool for...
You're too cool.
Thanks.
You got it.
I did a little bit of fact checking the last time I made you do live conversions on air, and you were pretty close. You weren't too far off, actually. I think you cheated on one because you were suspiciously close on the volume one. I don't remember what it was, but you had guessed 700 milliliters or something like that, and you were 12 milliliters off, so I think that was a little suspicious.
That's because I like my liquor bottles.
The other one was a little farther off, but still pretty
easy
close.
Conversion there,
right? I know what 750 milliliters look like.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll give you a pass on that one. Anything else interesting in your wake there, Eric?
Yeah. So on Tuesday I got just really into taking care of all the shit that I've been letting slip. Just house chores, cleaning, laundry, everything.
Your bathroom's done now?
No, and I knew you were going to ask that. But it's funny because it really hammered the point home that, like, once I get going, don't want to stop.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to tell you for like 3 years now. I said, if you just take out half hour of your day, your momentum is going to carry you through. You have to just start.
But it carries me through too far. Like, I mean, so it was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm folding laundry. I'm like, I should really go to bed. I got to be up at 4 in the morning. But like, I just didn't want to stop.
Did you take a nap that day?
No, I did not take a nap.
Well,
I haven't taken a nap all week.
That's all right. Well,
since the last time you've asked. I've still only good. Like 3 or 4 throughout the entire year.
That's how you reset your sleep schedule, though. If you have to take naps, just make one day where you're going to stay up late and be miserable, and then that's how you reset it. You got to do that for a couple weeks, but you'll be good after that.
Well, I definitely think I need to be more active throughout the day and be better about going to bed at an appropriate time. It just is what it is. But overall, I've had a good week. How about you, Tori? How's the kitchen?
It's almost done. The floor's in. Got to cut the cord around yet. This gripping story, I know. And the cabinet doors are also in, as well as the drawer fronts. It's an incredible amount of pressure that's on my shoulders to make sure that these holes are drilled accurately. That's a one-shot John. So,
Oh, right, yeah.
You got to make sure, for the handles, right?
Yeah.
For the handle, and of course for the hinges also.
Right.
So yeah, I got to be extra super careful. So I'm only going to have maybe 6 beers that night.
Very good.
Yeah. I got to keep it. I got to run a tight ship.
Well, it's kind of like playing pool or bowling. You got to loosen up a little bit before you get on your A game.
100% right. Yeah. Before I use any type, I'm going to use the drill press, of course. So I feel good about using that. I don't get to use that every day, so that'll be a nice job, a practical job. I like I get a kick out of practicality like that. So we'll be drilling, and wish me luck, because if I mess up, there's no guarantee that I'll be around. Yeah, I may be pushing up daisies.
Your wife has already been breathing down your neck. The project is starting to get to her.
I think so. Yeah, a bit. And it's not insurmountable, but it's certainly daunting. And we're plugging right along. But thank you for asking.
Now you're drilling and then painting these doors?
Correct.
Yeah.
Drilling and not beer spilling.
Oh, there you go.
Are you guys familiar with the Donner Party? You guys ever heard this?
That rings a bell.
They were going out west and they got trapped in a mountain pass and they had to resort to cannibalism.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah. I just bring that up because sometimes I think maybe your wife would be the first one to suggest eating people. Like, fuck it, we're trapped. Let's start eating people.
Turn on me.
Calling it quits.
Yeah.
We got to do it, guys.
Well, I've had a hunch that she's been poisoning me for maybe the last 13, 14 months. So I probably wouldn't be any good to eat anyway.
I often wonder how often my girlfriend, who was on last episode with us, how often she is plotting my murder in her mind. I have to feel like it must be frequent.
I don't mean to pry, but is there any life insurance involved?
Not to her. I took care to make her not the beneficiary of anything, and I actually wrote up a will and didn't tell her about it just in case.
Oh boy. You better tell that, boy. Not unless it's a joke.
She won't listen to this episode, so we're safe to spill it to the rest of the world.
So I take it she doesn't listen to the podcast. Just like
I don't have anything of value, anyways, that anyone would really want. So I do have a brand new sewer line in my house, though. Maybe some people would want that. I guess it might be a selling point. So
that sounds like a whole lot of no fun.
It was a whole lot of no fun. Thanks for asking.
You're the one who brought it up. No one asked.
Yeah, one headache you never got to do again.
Speaking of, hopefully. Speaking of bringing things up, I wanted to do a little bit of a soft-spoken rewind.
No bad sound effects? Come on.
No, well,
that's in post.
Yeah, that does in post. Bad. I can't do that live. I can't do the reverse.
You tried.
Soft-spoken.
Well, I do like to ham it up a little bit, but no, I actually had a little bit of a follow-up to our podcast last week because we were doing the Twisted Ranch.
Correct.
Cheddar popped jalapeno sauce. Is that ranch? Is that correct?
Yes.
Some along them lines.
Okay, I want to make sure I got the name right. I don't have it here in front of me, so I'm doing this off the cuff.
Good.
But I actually I felt bad about last episode, and I made my my stop this week for groceries to, as Pittsburghers would call it, John Eagle. I stopped down to the local Giant Eagle. And
very large bird.
I was going back, and I wanted to get another bottle of the sauce that we tried last week that was in date, because I felt that, I personally especially gave it a pretty bad rating, and I really think it'd be nice just to do a little sample a bottle that's fresh, and that way we can at least, we'll know right off the bat if our scores are, in alignment with how they were last week.
I think that's fair. Beyond fair.
Very fair.
So I went to the shelf to get it, and this was, I only got that bottle last week. It wasn't like I got it 3 weeks in advance like I get some of these. So this is only a week later. I go back there, gone. Not on the shelf. And I found some of the other sauces in that brand, like the honey or the honey whatever and the garlic smashed buffalo or whatever. I found those ones, and I thought, oh, okay, well, they must have ran out of those. They finally pulled the ones off the shelf, and they're just going to front face it with some other, like items just until they get a fresh batch in. No, they pulled the stickers off.
That was going to be my next question.
That is not a product in Giant Eagle anymore at all. They pulled that shit.
Wow.
Which really makes me suspicious now whether that was either A, selling that poorly that they got their first case in and I was the only sucker to buy one, or B, there was something wrong.
I'm thinking B, dude.
Because they had the other flavors on there, and I thought about getting one of those, but I was like, you know what? This is enough to report on its own. There's some sort of Giant Eagle conspiracy, and now the most pressing part is that they would not have heard our episode, so it's not like they listened to us and took some kind of action based on that. Unlike Newman's Own, who followed us on Twitter the other day. Our only Twitter follower at the moment. I know, I was thrilled.
That's really cool.
Tori is gleaming.
That's awesome.
I know, I was really thrilled by that. I don't think they follow us on Instagram, but they did follow us on Twitter, which we don't utilize very often.
That warmed my heart.
I know, and it was totally unprompted. That really tickled me the other day.
But yeah, the sauce just sounds from...
Thank you, Newman's Own.
This
is our official thank
Yeah,
you.
Exactly. Yeah, wow. I wish you could see the expression on our faces.
That really tickled me.
Yeah, it's one of awe and appreciation.
If we got nothing else out of this podcast, we at least got that.
Exactly. Wow. Cool.
What were you saying, Eric?
Anywho, yeah.
It's just super suspicious about this whole ranch being removed from the lineup there at Giant Eagle. Only thing to their defense... very slightly, is that, I actually did price changes for Home Depot.
Okay.
And when a product was out, oftentimes, we had multiple facings of stuff, and when I'd kill a facing, no problem. Which I understand there isn't like multiple facings for this sauce and Giant Eagle, but maybe they just temporarily.
But were you printing out new stickers though?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I worked a lot of retail too in my life, and there's been times when we temporarily ran out of something and maybe I front faced something else. I wasn't printing off new stickers for that if we're going to be getting another batch of it in a week or in a day.
Right,
I wouldn't be doing that.
I'd print out like whole new stickers for the entire bay at Home Depot. I would peel every sticker off and re-sequence. Dude, that was my job.
Oh, okay.
I was hired as a bay integrity.
But if they ran out of a product for a week, you would go through and reface the entire bay with stickers?
The bays were on just like a cycle. Like literally, it would just be like.
Yeah, but what I'm saying that you're missing my point here is that
it wasn't just to that one.
They
sauce.
seem to have made a conscious choice to remove that product from their lineup.
Is it on gianteagle.com? Can you go in Giant Eagle and like shop for a store? Or?
We can do a little test and see.
Yeah,
so I bet you could. I bet you there's some other stores and Giant Eagle stores in the area that probably have it.
And allow me to riddle you this, Batman. Did we come to the conclusion or know that this isn't a new product or newer product?
We came to no such conclusions.
Okay. Well, then never mind that because I had a theory, but it's all junk.
Was it a Kraft Heinz product testing theory?
No, it was a crackpot theory.
Now, did we double check that, by the way?
What?
There's nowhere on that bottle that says Kraft Heinz.
It said that somewhere.
Okay.
I have photogenic evidence.
Yeah, that was definitely part of it.
Photo something.
It said there was a collaboration with. It was said on either one of those articles, if nothing else. It said a collaboration with Kraft Heinz.
Okay. I know you made comment to it in the.
I didn't pull that out of thin air. I mean, we
right.
got that from somewhere. And if I'm wrong, fucking sue me for slander.
Dude, I don't know.
It says specifically made for them. Yeah, like.
Visit us, 1731 South 7th Street, St. Louis, Missouri. Of course, talking about Missouri.
It is still on the website. They still do have the Twisted Ranch Cheddar Popped Jalapeno Ranch on the Giant Eagle website.
Wow. How bizarre for them to take out it maybe maybe just the store you went to. How strange.
It specifically says manufactured for Twisted Ranch. That's all it says.
Yeah, manufactured by.
For, but it doesn't say anything about who manufactured. Yeah, it doesn't say who it's manufactured by, though.
Yeah, Google it and look for a press release. Like there's a million sick or something.
Oh, God, that'd be crazy.
From tainted sauce.
Okay, it says on Amazon, Kraft
okay.
Heinz. I told you I didn't pull that out of fucking nowhere.
Okay.
Don't fucking doubt me.
I was starting to doubt.
Well, it was not clearly stated in the previous episode, which is why I wanted to just...
It was clearly stated. I clearly stated it. What do you mean it wasn't clearly stated? It
wasn't clearly stated where you found
if
this
there's one
information.
thing I'm good at doing, it's clearly stating things.
I don't think it was on the label, though.
No, it was not.
Yeah, I think you might have been right on that, because I distinctly remember reading that on, I think it was the article we had pulled up to discuss that. That's, I believe, where I found that information at. Well, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Sauce Spoken Rewind. Moving forward, let's go ahead and get into the sauce for this week. I'm not going to do any more bad Jamaican accents, as fun as they are to do. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone by that. And if I did, fuck you.
Yeah, be a sport. We ain't hurting nobody.
Do you want to lead us off there, Eric, with the actual sauce that we're doing this week? Do it in your best Jamaican accent.
Nope, not going to happen. I am going to steal what you said about the sauce, though. You actually found this in place of where you expected to see the Twisted Ranch, right?
Yeah, basically? not quite in place of. They had moved other Twisted Ranch products in to fill that slot, but this was pretty closely adjacent to that.
Where'd they move them to?
Well, they just moved them. They were like all in a line, they had the different flavors, and they just, instead of having one of each flavor, they had like two side by side of the same flavor.
Can I tell you where they should have moved them to?
To the dumpster. In all honesty, I am certain that is exactly what happened to them, because what else would you do with them? You can't sell them unless you're Big Lots. I used to work at Big Lots, and we would take near expiration or past expiration and put them on clearance and price them accordingly to that.
You didn't just scratch off the Best Buy label?
No, people bought that shit up. I mean, that's part of the experience of shopping at Big Lots, is that things are, coming close to date anyways. But yeah,
calendars from 2 years ago you can buy at Big Lots.
That was one of the things I used to...
What the hell?
Yeah. No, that was one of the things I used to do, was go through the chip aisle and search through every bag of chips, finding the ones that were within a month of expiration and pulling them and pricing them on how close to or how far past their expiration they were.
That's funny. I guess I never really shopped at Big Lots much.
Oh, that was always my goal, to fill up the clearance tables because people would go bonkers for that. You'd never seen pure happiness on someone's face until you've seen 5 full clearance bins of things at Big Lots, because they're already cheap. I'm selling bags of chips for a nickel, full size bags of chips. So, yeah, people would load up on those.
Good story there.
Thanks.
So, today's sauce is, we're doing, Pickapeppa sauce.
Now, can you spell that for people? So
Pickapeppa is one word. It's Pickapeppa.
Yeah, Pickapeppa.
Yeah, it's a Jamaican. Well, let's see here. It says product of Pickapeppa Co. Ltd. Shooter Hill, Jamaica, WI
West Indies.
West Indies.
Very good, Tori.
So yeah, it says barrel aged, which I think is very interesting on it, and it has a picture of a. We're going to go with some kind of bird. Some kind of parrot.
Definitely a parrot.
Oh, yeah, like a macaw or something like that.
The macaw, yeah. I think that's probably the most accurate.
Is it supposed to be like a green, like the army macaw, the green and red?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a fucking bird.
Just a big bird, yeah. A big tropical bird.
And I think this product is actually distributed out of Louisiana. If you look on the back there, I think it gives like a little distribution.
It is distributed in USA by Warbox Sales Company, Louisiana.
Which I assume they're just making it and shipping it to a distribution center, so that's kind of irrelevant. But
store at room temperature. We know this one's safe.
Yeah, we did do that. And did we check the expiration on this one? Is there an expiration on this one?
Didn't check.
We
like this one. I guess I can't spill the sauce too soon, huh, boys?
This one did come from John Eagle as well, so we already know that they're not good at policing their shelves.
It's curious to me that
on the bottom, maybe, Eric?
I'm worried I'm not worried, but I'm curious as to how different the sauce that's made in America is in comparison to the sauce made in Shooter Hills.
Well, no, I think this is made in Shooter Hill. I think it's just distributed.
Gotcha,
I think this is made in Jamaica.
Good. Okay.
Nope, I don't think there's no expiration date.
Does not expire.
Just good forever.
Well, as we'll learn, there's a pretty high amount of vinegar in this sauce. But for now, why don't we pass it over to Tori for a little bit of description of the bottle and the sauce inside.
Oh, sure thing. So we have the Jamaican flag, top left-hand corner. Of course, the yellow cross against the green and black there, of course. And Jamaica, it's very near and dear to my heart, if I may make a comment. I was married in Jamaica, so it's a very nice place. Beautiful.
You've been there a couple times, actually, right?
It'd be twice now. Yeah. It's a really nice place. It real friendly folks. I like it down there a lot. But yeah, so the bottle itself almost looks to me sort of a brown baggish maybe type of look texture to it. Sort of fibrous, maybe as you look at it. The Pickapeppa there is red with white lettering, and the sauce down below to accompany it. That big red macaw, of course, is at you there. He's ready. He's branched up, and he's ready to swoop in and get dinner.
Yeah, he has his like back arch. He almost looks like he's kind of like
oh yeah, he
looks like he's puking.
He's watching something.
It's like he's heeling over a toilet. Like, ugh!
Yeah, I don't know. I think we might be looking at the wrong thing. I don't know. It's definitely a bird of some variety. And then, interestingly enough, the ingredients are listed sort of in a U-shaped type pattern there at the bottom, whereas classically ingredients are listed, of course, on nutrition facts. In what I would think is quite a boring manner on the nutrition facts, where I think this is more exciting and more neat, and it plays to the fact that you can pronounce everything that's in it, which is a nice thing too.
Makes it amazing. It's so shelf-stable, too.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. No, I was actually looking for the ingredients on the back, and I said, where are the ingredients at? And you said, Tori, they're on the front. And I said,
front, brother.
They put them right on the front because there's, to get a little spoiler, there's so few of them, and they're all things you could recognize as foods.
Yep,
so
definitely. And that's an appeal in and of itself. And if you can pull that off, boy, yeah, I would flaunt it as well. And then there's a nice little story on the back about how they were founded in 1921 in Shooter Hills, Jamaica. I won't go into detail, but there's the bottle in a nutshell. It's glass with a screw top that is black.
Yeah, we like the glass bottles. I think this is a 5-ounce bottle that we have with the black cap there, and the sauce inside is, I don't know, what would you say, Eric? I mean, I think it looks like a kind of a dark reddish brown, definitely with like some reddish undertones, and
yeah, it's like a burnt umber. Looking online, though, and the way it photographs, it actually looks like it's almost black.
I think that's just the lighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely, it's not, I would say, not as finely pureed. Like, there are some definite chunks in it, and I'm seeing some little flecks of black pepper in it as well, and it kind of, if you put it on if you get it on the side of the bottle there, you notice it kind of rests in clumps as opposed to having an even sheen, like you had mentioned before, Tori, about how things move as a unit. This is not one of those.
No, that's very
definitely
viscous, watery.
Falls apart a little bit easier, which is actually not too bad. I kind of like the little clumps. They're not. You can't taste the clumps in the texture, but you can definitely see them visually.
Well, if you're eating it on its own, there's a slight texture there, like I said, like a pureed kind of.
Yeah, but you're not getting it's not like a spaghetti sauce where you're getting chunks of stuff,
right? Or a salsa.
Or what are we allowed to call it, Eric? Can we call it a spaghetti? Can I say spaghetti sauce, or is that a protected term?
As red gravy.
Yeah, those are the rules.
But we did learn online as well that if you're willing to buy in a little bit of bulk, you can really save yourself some serious cash.
Yeah.
I bought a 5-ounce bottle from Giant Eagle, and they're advertising that for $4.18 on the website. And I think I actually paid less than that. I think I paid closer to $3 for this at John Eagle. But if you're willing to step up to a gallon, they'll cut you a little bit of a break. It's only $61.42 for a gallon. And if you really want to buy a whole case of gallons, which is 4 gallons, they're willing to sell that to you for a measly $51 a bottle for a total of $204.72. What a steal.
Probably going to be $100 shipping, too. I don't know what the shipping will be.
Well, they're distributing it from America. They're probably
true.
fulfilling this by Amazon or some shit like that. You can probably get this for free with Prime if I had to guess.
If I'm dropping $200 on sauce, they had better deliver that for free, or there's going to be hell to pay.
I would think so. The only tricky thing is when you get into shipping liquids, there's more restrictions on doing that and stuff for whatever reason. Plus the weight, tends to be a factor. But no, I'd be willing to bet they have some kind of fulfillment by Amazon deal. You might be able to special order it through your local John Eagle.
Or other grocery store, absolutely.
But since we had already kind of touched on the ingredients, do you want to go ahead and give us a read on the ingredients here? Because there was a couple interesting talking points on that as well.
Absolutely. There really are some. After I got done tasting it, I kept thinking about what flavors I was tasting. I was so eager to actually read the ingredients just to make sense of it all. So right off the bat, we have cane vinegar, which we all had to look up and figure out what the heck is cane vinegar.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what that really meant, because we're all familiar with like cane sugar, I think, and we weren't really sure how that referred to. What were some of the speculations? Tori, didn't you have an idea about what that meant?
The cane vinegar. Yeah, excuse me. I was zoning out there for a moment, but yeah, I was imagining vinegar from rum.
Right.
That was my first thought. In my notes here, I had the cane vinegar question mark, and I assumed that it was some derivation of rum.
Which I think was a good guess, because like we had mentioned, if you leave alcoholic things like wine long enough, they'll turn to vinegar.
Yeah.
And, knowing that they make rum from sugarcane, I think that was a pretty intelligent guess. And as it turns out, that is, you're
Pretty
basically
close.
one step
Relative,
removed, but that's
yeah.
pretty much what it is. You want to give a little read on that, Eric, what the official definition of sugarcane vinegar is?
Sure. Sugarcane vinegar is made from syrup from sugar cane. Or, I'm sorry, it's called cane vinegar, not sugarcane vinegar. Anyways, but...
Well, it says sugarcane vinegar.
Start this over again.
It says cane vinegar on the bottle.
Right. So the cane is harvested, crushed, and then to extract the juices and simmer down into a syrup, which is then fermented into a vinegar. So, essentially, my first thought was you just take sugarcane plants, crush them, leave them in a pot until they ferment and become vinegar. So, essentially, I was thinking, my first thought was pretty much spot on. But
no, you're right. But that's essentially how they make rum, too, which is kind of like what Tori was saying, that's essentially all they're doing is just skipping the rum step and going straight to the vinegar step. And for all I know, it does develop alcohol along the way.
Sure.
So,
I was going to say, well, why in the hell would you skip that step? But,
right?
Vinegar's good, too. But,
skim a little off the top.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
They're saying that cane vinegar has a similar flavor profile to like a malt vinegar, which I think is fair based on our tasting, but...
Well, and I also think it's interesting, it also says that good ones are aged in oak barrels, and this is barrel-aged, and I definitely
sauces, though.
Oh, okay.
Well, right, isn't that what it says, the sauces?
Yeah, well, yeah, it says barrel-aged on the sauce, so...
Okay.
That's good enough for me.
Similar to Tabasco, which also comes in a very similar bottle to this.
True, but I get more... Like, you can taste the oak in this. Anyways, not to jump ahead to the tasting notes.
Jesus.
Wow,
Someone's used to have wood in their mouth.
We got wood notes.
Eric can tell us all about the wood notes after he's done reading the rest of the ingredients.
Ingredient number 2 is onions. And we got sugar, tomato paste, sea salt, peppers, raisins, ginger, mango concentrate, cloves, thyme, garlic, black pepper, and orange peel.
Very good.
Very interesting.
Like you'd said, all things that you can read, all things you can understand easily, and they all sound like good things, too. The one other thing I wanted to talk about there was the raisins.
Yep.
Which I think was the thing I was probably most surprised about on there, but honestly, reflecting back on that, it makes sense.
It's what I kept tasting, too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I tasted
I picked
as much.
up on those raisins.
There is a definite sweetness to it, but I think raisins are another one of those things, kind of like we had talked about before with the carrots or even the anchovy paste, is that you can sneak raisins into a lot of things, and I don't think they give a strong flavor themselves necessarily. Like I could definitely see you putting in some raisins into like a chili or something like that, and that being, I would probably take them out. I'd probably put them in like a tea strainer or something, but
a way to add sweetness to it and like a little bit of
they got a little bit of an earthiness
yeah.
taste too. Sugar and some earthiness or something. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I'll be damned. I've never heard of such a thing.
I mean, I've never tried it, but it sounds like something that one could do,
Throw a bay leaf in there and throw a couple of raisins. You have a nice little spice pack.
Yeah. One thing my grandmother used to like to do was soak some green raisins in gin and feed them to her, 5-year-old grandchildren.
You.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with me.
Slow you down a little bit.
She did that because she believed that would help prevent Alzheimer's, which is what my grandfather died of. And to her point, fairness, thus far I have not developed Alzheimer's, so she may have been onto something there.
Wowee.
She didn't get Alzheimer's either. She died at a ripe old age. She was hiking in the woods.
Oh, wow.
94 years old. Fell and broke her hip. Dragged herself up a ravine back to her house. Called emergency services, and they got her all taken care of. Taken to the hospital. Patched right up, and then she promptly died. And I think if you have to go, that's the way to go. I was really happy for her. Not happy that she died, but happy that she was, living her life to the fullest right up until the end.
Wow. That's a hell of a story.
That is.
Yeah, she was badass.
Wow.
If I have to go out, that's a good way to go out. Good for her.
Would you recommend the gin grapes?
Yeah, I think that was the key to her success. Like I said, never developed Alzheimer's. Fit as Fit as a whistle.
Even from
Fit
a
as a
taste
fiddle?
standpoint, not even.
So we know you're a fan of gin.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I like a gin every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely not accustomed to the taste of gin, in my single digit years, but yeah, I mean, I'm a little more partial to it now, and it only had some minor side effects, so.
So this is a regular thing. Like every Friday, you have some gin.
No.
Gin.
This is the thing a kick she was on for a while. So, but no, I only had them maybe a few times, but I probably should not have had them at all. So,
Man, that sounds like a Friday night snack to me.
they weren't. Well, that's the thing. Gin is really strong flavor. It's something you have to be accustomed to. As a child, that is not a flavor that you like.
Oh yeah, as a kiddo, you'd probably put that in the same category as cough syrup.
I would think even worse than that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like straight, astringent, some kind of solvent,
Rocket fuel,
turpentine
yeah.
or something. So,
Brings back memories of trying, like whiskey for the first time and whatnot. It's quite a jarring experience the first time.
well, some of our elder relatives used to think that was an okay thing. Your kid's getting fussy. Give them a little whiskey on your finger or something. That was just a common control thing for kids. So. While we're on tasting notes for gin raisins and whiskey, why don't we head and move on to tasting notes for this sauce? You want to lead us off there, Eric, with some of your initial notes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to. So when I first tried it, first thing I did was actually I smelled it, and the smell is very strong of vinegar, and it's
Which is
almost
interesting because you smelt it, but I was in fact the one that dealt it to you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was trying to make it funny, but fuck me, I guess.
Oh.
And
I also farted.
Yeah, you farted. Yeah, so you farted.
it was strong. It was the point where my nose hairs were curling from that. And I don't know if maybe just cane vinegar is just a particularly odoriferous, but
Ooh.
it was. I almost didn't like the smell. I kind of liked it, but it was almost too strong. Maybe because I was actually burying my nose in our little tasting cups here. Anyways, when it came to my tasting flavors, I got what I first wrote down was apples and bourbon because I could taste the oaked and spicy kind of zing to it, and then there definitely was a fruitiness to it. So I wrote down apples, then I said obviously vinegar, and I said maybe apple cider vinegar. And I said it's sweet and zesty and cooked onions. It was very strong. I was like, you can taste cooked onions. So I was happy to see that as the second ingredient in there. Raisins caught me off guard. I mean, after I read it, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely tasted raisins.
Yeah, you were just claiming that you were tasting those the whole time.
Well, it's very clear once you read it. I'm saying that flavor note, once you read it, or if you go in knowing it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, this definitely is raisins.
I'm going to try another little spoonful because I don't think I ever got raisins even after reading that.
Spoonful's worth it.
Oh, yeah. I was just eating it by the fingerful. Like a heathen.
There you go.
And I said by itself, it has some heat. And then it slowly built up and built up, to the point because all that spice and peppers in it. And
I'm still not getting any raisins here. That's
harder.
Okay. Try harder. Okay.
You said you wanted to drink that bottle. You really liked it.
I did really like this sauce. Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I really like this. From the initial sniff I gave it to my final moments, I was thrilled with this. But
So it had a slow heat that built up with all those spices, the garlic and the clove and the pepper, of course, and it's good. I mean, I like that slow build, and yeah, definitely my tasting notes this was an exciting, complex sauce. I really enjoyed it.
This is why I don't let you research the sauces in advance, because then you start retrofitting your comments based on that. You're like, I definitely tasted the mango chutney and the raisins and the orange peel in this sauce. Thank you.
I said it tasted like apples and fruity.
I distinctly tasted the cane vinegar.
God. The apples
as opposed to.
You think it's interesting that I tasted apples?
Yeah.
Well,
I do kind of get where you're coming from with the apples, like a roasted apple almost.
Right. Well, actually, so it's kind of funny actually, because for the first of this year, I made for you guys that honey, whiskey, apple, and onion pork roast.
Yeah.
And that sauce, all those flavors, very reminiscent of this.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I definitely got like that, especially like that apple type thing you're talking about with the
cooked onions spices, and apple and the spices. Yeah.
Definitely kind of reminiscent of that. Tori, you want to kind of hit us with some of your tasting notes?
Yeah. I just make this all up and make it all like I'm some genius.
Oh, you are.
I am what?
You are genius.
Thanks.
He's an evil genius,
Oh boy,
as we've mentioned before.
a couple times.
He knows enough to be dangerous,
Knows
as
enough.
we've said.
No, enough to be
Oh, poor
dangerous.
If I was
Allie.
more organized, I'd be dangerous.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was the word.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
totally
That's it.
disorganized.
Dangerous? That was a funny moment.
Yeah, legitimate concern. Oh boy. But yeah. So anyway, as far as the sauce is concerned, I too gave it a good sniff. I had my honker in there for quite a long time. To me, it smelled incredibly reminiscent of something that I just cannot put my finger on, and I was really hoping that one of yins would hit the nail on the head and jog my memory, because it tastes like something to me distinctly American. I can't put my finger on it. I know, of course, it's a Jamaican sauce, that makes no difference, but there's something out there. And I know there is, but I can't put my finger on it. So maybe in a rewind in a future episode, hopefully it'll come to me, when I'm like in the shower or something,
Right.
not shampooing my hair or whatever. It'll come to me whenever.
I mean, I could throw this out there, but I thought it did smell somewhat reminiscent of A1 sauce.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to give it more thought.
Okay.
I really got to put my thinking cap on.
That
for
was
this.
the A1 sauce that was my initial entire. I actually thought it was going to be too close to A1 sauce when I first smelled it, to be honest with you guys. That was my first thought.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're saying reminiscent high of.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I know there's something out there that's popular and Americanized that is very, very similar to this, and I just can't think of it. It's right on the tip of my tongue, quite literally. Yeah, so the smells, I got a Christmassy smell
Wow.
from it, and maybe that is a function of the raisins and the clove.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
could be.
But I certainly wrote down Christmassy, maybe a spicy Christmas, if you will, maybe a Christmas south of the border, or maybe on the equator. So a spicy Christmas. I thought it looked and tasted like a thin, spicy, peppery ketchup.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Not to say that that makes it a bad thing, but I think if I were to boil that down to the lowest common denominator, that's what I would come up with.
Well, you're not. I mean, there is that tomato paste that they had mentioned in there, so I think you're on the right track with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's how I would wrap up my tasting news. I was expecting something. I've had a lot of Jamaican jerk. We've certainly had a lot of Jamaican jerk, and maybe it's me being a dumb Yankee, dumb American. I don't know. But I was expecting something much jerkier.
Right.
From this, I don't know what that entails, but maybe a certain different set of spices. Maybe I was expecting something different. Let's say it's bad. I was very pleasantly surprised. We'll get to the ratings, I'm sure, here shortly. But yeah, those were my tasting notes in a nutshell, or in a glass bottle.
Your notes towards Christmas, and I'm not sure if you've been to Jamaica. You might know this. I don't know how well duck is eaten down there or not, or if at all.
Goat is a big protein. A lot of fish, of course, as you would imagine.
But I bet this would be really good on like Christmas duck.
Okay.
Done well, like cooked. I bet you that'd be awesome.
Yeah, lots of fat on that duck. Lots
Yep.
of vinegar in that sauce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for me, I definitely got a lot of that kind of like A1 that you guys were talking about, and I thought for sure that there was going to be Worcestershire sauce in this, and there is not. So, but I was
Good.
definitely getting a lot of those flavor notes from that without having any of that in it whatsoever. Tasting wise, it definitely, that's where it started to stray from the A1, which I was thankful for, because I like A1, but I was hoping that this was a little different, and it was. Like we mentioned, kind of texture and consistency wise, I like a little bit of that runnier texture, and I dipped this in a chicken nugget, and I don't remember exactly what my initial thing was, but it was something to the effect of, oh wow, I really like this.
No, I think it was more along the lines of daddy like.
Oh yeah, that's
Or daddy likey. Or,
I did say daddy like.
Yeah, papa like, or yeah.
I'm glad you remembered.
Something weird,
Daddy
pseudo-sexual weirdness.
Daddy like the sauce. Yeah, I did say that actually. Now that
Yeah.
you bring that up, that's a good point.
Don't worry.
Daddy like.
Yeah, I got your back.
And Daddy did like this sauce. Speaking of daddies, the one thing I wanted to bring up was that this actually reminds me a lot of, we had mentioned this before on the podcast when we were talking about Christmas traditions, the meatballs that my mother, Sweet Mammy P, makes for Christmas distinctly remind me of this sauce. Now, this one I think has a little bit more of a heat to it, which hers typically doesn't, and probably more of the peppery type punch to it. But other than that, this is the closest sauce I have ever had in a bottle that is closest to that sauce that she makes. And she actually makes that sauce primarily from ketchup. So I think, Tori, you were like, hitting the nail you're right on the ballpoint, is what I like to say.
Right on the ballpoint. Well, thank you. That was.
Yeah, I think
appreciate that.
I think that's exactly what that's coming from.
And it's not a bad thing. That's not a slam.
No, you're right.
I don't mean that negatively.
If you want to think about ketchup, some points that you could make there. Number one, they've got the vinegar. Obviously, that's a major component in there. They've got sugar, which is also a big component in ketchup. They've got your tomato paste. They've got your sea salt. They've got some other sweet ingredients. With the raisins that we had mentioned, the mango concentrate. A little bit of that orange peel, kind of, again, the citrusy thing. To me, I mean, half of this stuff is basically, you could make up a pseudo ketchup with this, so I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
I think they're just kind of beating around the bush, to get to there.
For all we know, that this could be the ketchup equivalent to Jamaica, where here you get a plate of French fries and Heinz ketchup, and you may go get some jerked goat and drop that on it. That may be a commonplace thing in restaurants. That I don't know.
I'd even dip some fries in the sauce.
French fries.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think they would go phenomenal with this. Yeah. And I think this is an authentic Jamaican thing, because we were reading on the website a little bit, and it seems to be that, actual Jamaicans really like the sauce. So I think that is probably a popular thing there. You couldn't... we had asked you if you could recall that from your trips there, and you couldn't specifically, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And... you may or may not get the real authentic experience being on a resort.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not a slam dunk either. You go down to a resort for a reason. You go down and, to Kingston or whatever you go to, for a reason. And that, we went to the resort.
And with this being kind of like a tan, low key profile bottle, I think that if you may have been more focused on, your newly married wife down there than you were on the sauce bottles in the resort.
The beautiful sun, the nice warm sand.
Yeah. You were probably...
My wife was there, yeah.
If I'm guessing, you probably did a number on the booze repository there.
Maybe.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's totally likely that possible that at least that you just missed that.
Red stripe stock bumped up what was that, 1.25 that day, yeah.
Now, the one other thing I wanted to... now, I'll run this by you, Tori, because... I don't think this is what you're thinking, but just on the off chance,
hit me too.
We had mentioned before on a previous episode, I remember what we had it with. Oh, it was the BL French onion dip. We had the Zapp's Voodoo chips, and to me, the strong vinegar notes with kind of those barbecue-esque notes in this, that was another thing that I definitely strongly got off this, was
interesting.
A striking similarity in some of the key points to those Voodoo chips by Zapp's from Utz.
And let's not forget those Voodoo chips also have a strong dose of sugar on them too.
Right.
Just
they do.
Straight up sweet.
Well, no, that's what I was getting. Kind of like that barbecue, that sweet and spicy barbecue with some vinegar, salt and vinegar notes.
Yeah, very strong salt, vinegar, and sugar.
Now, there's definitely some other stuff in here that I think is straying from that, but I think some of the key points are spot on for those chips as well, which is probably part of why I like the sauce so much.
You can draw several parallels.
Exactly. That's kind of where I was leaning towards with that.
And those chips did rank as 12 out of 10, right?
For me, they did. They didn't rank.
They were all over the place.
They didn't rank quite as high as that with everyone else. But currently, the highest sauce we have rated is the chocolate raspberry sauce from the Olive Tap that you had gotten us, Eric. That's sitting at a solid 9.8 points. Currently, the highest. This is going to be a solid contender for me to beat that out.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. This is going to be a good.
That'll
one.
be tough to do. I mean. Everyone loves chocolate.
That's true. But I don't think I've ever had such a visceral reaction to a sauce. Probably the closest one to me was the Chipotle Tabasco, which I already knew what to expect on that one, so I was a little less enthusiastic about it. This one here, daddy-like.
Daddy-likey.
Let's go ahead and we can go ahead and dive right into our ratings. I think we've all been pretty clear on how we felt about this. You want to lead us off with your ratings on this, Eric?
Yep. You're definitely not gonna. You're not gonna be wrong. This is gonna be a highly ranked sauce, I think, for all of us. We are. Well, I particularly really like the complexity.
Don't fuck this up.
And the right. I know now the pressure's on, because if I say too low of a number,
make me angry.
Adam's gonna go ballistic.
Okay.
I've been keeping it pretty cool this episode. If you fucking push me, that might be it.
Okay. Had to think about that.
Tori's gonna give it a 1 now.
Right.
Oh no! Come on.
Okay, go ahead.
All
Eric.
right. I think we're gonna go I think I'm pretty safe in saying that it's going to be a 9.25 for me.
All right.
9 1/4.
Solid.
I was gonna start off at like 8.5, but the more like we talked about the ingredients, the way this thing isn't full of like chemically weirdness. It's very true to itself from 1921. Very original recipe, and the relation to those voodoo chips that we all love. So, you know what? It really does make sense. So I think a 9.25, and then the heat level was surprising. You know, it built up. Again, I was like, oh, yeah, there's a little spice. And the more I ate it, the more it built and built. My tongue was actually like stinging.
that is tricky. At first, we weren't certain if we were going to have to do a heat rating for this, but as, like you said, as we kind of had more and more of it, it's weird. It dies, for me at least, it dies off quickly. Like, it builds up, you know, and you notice it, but then it also dies off quickly, too. It's not a long, lingering burn like I sometimes get from, it's like some really hot buffalo sauces or something.
I suppose that's true. I mean, it lasted for a fair amount of time. I'd say, you know, a few minutes anyways. And so I'm going to feel pretty safe in saying that this is a 4 on the spice meter for me.
Okay.
Oh.
You thought I was about ready to kick him through the chest.
4.
Push his heart through the wall, yeah. Kalima! Tear it out of him. No, he's doing heat. Okay, it's okay. I'll give him a pass on that.
Doing the heat. So, yep, those are my ratings for this sauce, and we have to keep an eye out for this one at the grocery store myself, because I definitely really like it.
It's on the top shelf, tucked in the corner, out of the way, hard to find.
I'll need a step stool to get it.
I have never seen this before. I think they intentionally, you know, they tend to face the bays, the shelves in a way, so the most popular things or the highest dollar ones are at face height, you know, for most people. And this, they clearly thought, no people are going to be buying this. I don't know why not. It's phenomenal.
This is really amazing sauce. It's really good. Tori, what's your numbers for it?
Wow. Hey, I really liked it. I liked everything about it. I liked the sauces that were straight up and honest and straightforward. Jamaica, naturally, holds a place near and dear to my heart. And at the end of the day, it was still a pretty damn good sauce. So 9.5. I thought it was great.
I think the next time I go to Giant Eagle, I am going to go to the shelves, pull all the ones off the top shelf of this, clear out some other boring-ass fucking, you know, whatever fucking Old Pit or something like that, whatever barbecue sauce or something they have. They're the 27 rows of Heinz ketchup, which I love also, and I'm going to put just a layer of this right at face height so we get the popularity of this stuff up, because I'm going to be, at this point, I'm going to be really upset if they pull this off shelves like they did with the Twisted Ranch popped whatever bullshit flavor that we tried last week. So.
That sounds like a public service to me, and I know I gave that a really high rating looking back on it. I mean, but that was only in defense that it was old.
I know. I felt bad for it too. That's why I wanted to go back and get a fresh bottle.
Yeah, I mean, my heart breaks for it, but yeah. So that being a 7 and this being a 9.5, I know there's.
Vomit to
in this I know in this particular instance there's light years between that 7 and 9.5, so I just want to make that
it's clear. A logarithmic scale.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you have for heat rating on this story?
Oh yeah, I think mid-range it is right on the nose. Maybe not quite 5. I don't think a 3. I'm gonna land with E. I think 4 is very fair.
Okay.
It wasn't an offensive type of heat. A peppery heat is a nice heat.
Yeah.
To me, it's sort of the slow burn, I guess, as you heat weirdos would call it. But yeah, I thought it was very pleasant from start to finish. Really good.
You know, as we've discussed before, I think, you know, spice and heat really hits people differently depending on where what the type of spice is. I mean, some people can say that black pepper is really, you know, spicy to them. And, you know, we had a guest on
for episode 10, Colleen. I think that's who you're referring to.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think we can call her out on this. She volunteered to be criticized on the show, so she volunteered her opinions. So she is a person who has stated before that she finds black pepper to be quite spicy, and also my sister, when she was younger, thought the same thing. She would say, "This is so spicy with black pepper." Like even the if you guys remember the old school nuggets from Burger King,
and how they had the black pepper flakes
which
on it.
I loved.
I loved them too. I didn't think they were spicy. Yep.
She loved chicken nuggets, but she hated those because she said they're too spicy.
My dad's that same way, actually. My dad says the same thing about those black pepper.
That's where you get all these such intense. This whole time you were complaining about how intense the flavor was. You were sloshing water back and forth in your mouth to try to clear it out.
Let me riddle you this, Batman. If you had fresh cracked pepper,
okay,
that was just that, cracked. It wasn't ground. Now, and I've had this experience before, so I will run to the defense of your sister and cooling, where I've had, a nice hunk of peppercorn stuck in my teeth, not to get gross on you, but, it works its way loose. Ooh.
Your tooth?
Well, yeah, I'm out of my teeth. Yeah, it gets lodged in there. Well, but yeah, I mean, so after it comes out, after that, to me, gives me a little shot of heat. Maybe I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
Right.
In that instance, I've experienced that before, and it's not uncomfortable, but is certainly noticeable.
No, I think you're spot on. I mean, it is definitely a heat, and this is something that we've lamented for, I don't know, this goes back a long time, where in American English, and presumably other languages too, maybe not in all other languages, we don't have separate words for the spiciness caused by, a cayenne pepper or by a black pepper, which I believe is piperine is the chemical that you're getting there, and a horseradish or a wasabi. These are all very distinct different types of heat that we all just say, oh, spicy, So I do think that is a failure that we have.
Well, maybe we should take it upon ourselves, considering we are such masters of the English language,
right,
to formulate our own words, our own adjectives, to come up with these.
Okay.
Maybe make some record of them.
I'm totally
glossary, if you will.
I was just thinking
That's
an
your
Instagram movement.
Oh, boy.
Come up with words, yeah.
I gave up beer for Lent, but boy, you gave me a half a case of beer, and
you gave up beer for Lent.
I did.
Holy shit! You're making a hell of a commitment.
I'm putting it on blast, dude. This is sacrifice, boy. This is what it is.
Yeah, that's what's that? 42 days.
40 days, 40 nights,
and that just started, right?
Ash Wednesday yesterday. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Wow, that is bold. I will say.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I can't give up going to the gym. Well,
you could give that up.
Yeah, I gave that up years ago.
Yeah,
I'm still going strong. Damn it. But yeah. So hey, and if you have any suggestions to our, they could be silly words, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. But
yeah, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, throw a suggestion. How would you?
I think it would be better to come up with something based in like science. Using actual terms. No, I'm just saying there are terms for this. Like I said, there's different chemicals that cause those sensations. So
nerd.
No, I'm just saying if we could come up with something that's actually rooted in fact, I think that'd be better than just making up, calling it, smishmail flavor and malarkey flavor or something.
I think it'd be really interesting if there's other, like you had alluded to, other languages, other cultures, a Japanese culture, do they already have multiple words for specifically a different type of spice?
Well, I think they do. I think like
down in Mexico.
I think even in some Romance languages, they have distinct different words for like a horseradish and a black pepper versus a red pepper. I think that's just an English thing.
I don't know. I think silly words are funnier and better.
We can have both. They can be science-based and silly.
And less boring.
I wanted to make one other comment, which is that if you guys remember the OG Chi-Chis, which I think we've talked about before, they also had some really phenomenal chicken tenders with a lot of black pepper flake in them.
I always get confused. Is Chi-Chi still around? Or?
No, Chi-Chi's was closed due to growing green onions in sewers.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And
we talked about this before, Eric. Eric's making a strange face.
Yeah, I'm totally
lost. That's different than his normal strange face.
I remember the Chi-Chi's, thanks. I remember the Chi-Chi's salsa.
That's still in stores, I think.
I think it is still in stores.
It is.
But there's a restaurant?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a very big, I think at one point it was the most popular Mexican restaurant chain in the United States.
Huh, I don't remember that.
At least in the northeastern United States where we reside. I'll fact check that. I'm taking a hard stance. It was the most popular.
I think you're close, if not spot on, because that was all the rage for a long time.
Yeah, I mean that was like the default. Back when our parents, I think we've talked about this before, but back when our parents were going out to restaurants, like it was big to have just chain restaurants. That's how places like the Applebee's and the Olive Gardens and the Red Lobsters got popular. Is just you could go anywhere in the country and get a consistent meal. And that was just all they strive for. I think that's more like our younger millennial-ish generation that is calling for, fewer chains, especially like the Applebee's and stuff that are kind of resting on their laurels and have really fallen off whatever
fair to say
semblance of, dignity they had.
No thanks, Applebee's. I have a microwave at home.
Yeah, well, that's exactly my point, though. But, at one point that was hot shit. And now we're kind of coming into locally owned, smaller places are much more popular. But I think Chi-Chi's was a holdover from the prior era there. And I mean, they had a lot of fun novelty stuff. They had the fried ice cream as one of their signature desserts. And they also had that black pepper chicken tenders, which was a staple of mine as a child. I'd branch out from the normal chicken tenders I would get at other restaurants. But anyways, all that to say, I'm going to bring it back around to my rating, which has been heavily delayed. And I'm going to start off with my heat rating. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 for the heat. I didn't think it was quite spicy enough to warrant a 4. It definitely builds, but that black pepper, like I said, I find that if I eat a bunch of it, that stacks up fast, but then it also dissipates quickly, whereas that cayenne burn really stays more for me. So I think a 3 is fair. For my flavor rating, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10.
Wowee.
I don't see, and this is a thing that I had mentioned before, I did not give the chocolate sauce a 10 out of 10. I believe I gave that a 9 out of 5, lowering our average rating to a 9.8. However, the thing about that was I had some ideas for how they could maybe improve that. For this, I don't know, to me, there's no way. The only way to improve this would be shell out the $61.40 and buy the gallon because if I haven't mentioned it enough before, I will say it again. Daddy like. And this sauce is phenomenal. Like I said, it was a sleeper to me because I had no preconceived notions of this, knew nothing about it, didn't even think it looked that good in the bottle, and from the second this hit my lips, I mean, blew me away. Yeah. I would slam this on. We weren't even sure if chicken nuggets are going to be an appropriate thing to taste it on, which I don't know if we had mentioned. That's what we tasted on this week. We weren't even sure if that was going to be appropriate because, as it says on the bottle, they list out a few key suggestions. They say for soups, fish, meat dishes, game roasts, which I guess you could make the argument that this is, chicken nuggets are a manner of game roasts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then it also says on the other side for seafoods, cheese dishes, salads, and what Eric pronounced gravis.
Gravitas.
Which I believe we discovered later was the plural for the word gravy.
It just seems so weird to put this into a gravy. I mean,
no, I can see it.
It is a gravy, almost, the consistency.
No, because I had mentioned this is another thing, much like the Heinz 57 sauce, that I could definitely see myself putting onto like a sausage biscuit gravy. Teach the saucetroversy, hashtag. So I definitely could see something like that to kind of perk up the zestiness a little bit, definitely.
You read something interesting, if I may interject, on the website about desserts.
Yes. We'll come back to that. I wanted to I'll wrap up my rating really quick here. Like I said, 10 out of 10. To me, I don't see how you could possibly improve on the sauce. It's hitting all the notes I like in the right proportions for me. Simple ingredients, a little bit of an interesting pick. I can't see a way to improve this. So that's why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. But yeah, Tori, you had mentioned that they were suggesting, we'll get into a little recipes. One of the recipes that they had posted on there was just essentially taking a block of cream cheese, throwing it in the microwave maybe for a few seconds to soften it up, and just pouring this sauce on top, using it as a dip for some crackers, which I think sounds delightful. The contrast with the cream I think would be good.
Yep.
And they had also mentioned, as you had said, Tori, maybe trying a couple of desserts with this sauce.
I think it's a ballsy move, man.
I think it's a ballsy move too, but and we talked about this a little bit before the show. I think you can make it work. I think there are things that you could feasibly incorporate that into.
I gotta ask, like what?
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever had the chocolate cake that utilizes canned tomatoes? Whole canned tomatoes? Yeah, there's I believe it was a children's book, and it was I was never a fan of tomatoes as a kid, so my mother elected to actually make this dish, which is essentially, like I said, just a chocolate cake that uses a ton of tomato in it. And it's actually pretty damn good. You don't taste the tomato, but it definitely adds a certain richness to it. And I could definitely see this in something like that. And I could even see, maybe like if you had like a chocolatey type sauce, maybe working a little bit of this into, or like a cheesecake or something like that. I definitely think there are ways you could use this.
Well, you can even build up that fruitness. I mean, there's already a lot of fruity notes in there. I'd think this would be really good cooked into some like blackberries or cooked on top of apples, like I said in my note.
And that's the kicker. I was kind of getting that too, because have you guys ever had on like a fruit medley, like a fruit tart or something like that, like a little drizzle of balsamic vinegar?
Oh, yeah.
I think this would hit the exact same notes as that.
Ew, no.
It's good.
No. Hey, if you guys want to give it a spin, be my guest. But
Yeah, you can make a nice little fruit medley with some balsamic vinegar.
I'll stick to my ice cream cone. I'm
It's
good.
a little unconventional, but I could definitely see this work in the exact same manner as that.
Wow.
And then put a little bit on top of you can even mix this up into some fruits. Give that fruit a little spicy richness, a little bit of that vinegar zing, and then serve that right on top of a little scoop of ice cream.
Oh, I was thinking,
ice cream.
I was thinking plain cheesecake. I was thinking if you just took a little bowl and got some raspberries, some strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, a little drizzle of this.
Oh, yeah.
Throw it on top of some cheesecake. Oh, man, that could be real good. Or even maybe like a smoothie, perk it up a little bit. Wow. I could definitely see that.
I don't know, man. I ain't buying it.
Giving you some wild ideas.
I ain't buying it.
Yeah, there's a couple there's a group recipes there for you. But no, I think that's like I said, a really well-rounded sauce, and I don't see how you would improve it, so that's where I'm coming from.
I think that, honestly, I think the more that I would be able to have the chance to try this sauce, to try it on just some different, the things that we're talking about, I think the chicken nuggets were the disservice of the vehicle for this sauce.
I think they were. We weren't doing it any favors. I said, I knew straight up this wasn't one of their suggestions, but I mean, I think we were trying it on. I would drink this straight up, like I had said earlier. I spent half my time just eating it off out of my little sippy cup here that they give us. Those people, our handlers, give us to try this out of when they push us in here. Yeah, so, and I would straight up sip it out of that. I mean, it was damn good. Yeah,
I actually liked it more licking it off my finger and off of my toothpick that I used than
he couldn't even handle the sippy cup.
I
got it on my fingies.
Than trying on the chicken nugget itself. So.
Yeah.
You know what else I could see as being good in, and I had mentioned this before, I think with our last sauce that was a bit of a failure. I could see you throwing this straight in a Bloody Mary. All that pepper in there?
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
That's easy. Yeah.
And
if you really, really want to drink the sauce, Adam.
Kind of, yeah. I'm kind of looking for an excuse at this point. We have to decide who's taking the sauce at the end of the episode, and this week I said, I'm taking it, me. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This was... Yeah, I was sold on this. And another thing I like is that it specifically says on there, store at room temperature, which I think we touched on earlier. And this is something that not a lot of people know, because a lot of people like to keep like hot sauces and stuff in the fridge. If something primarily vinegar based, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think for me to see that, I like that, to know that I can leave it out on the table and throw some on, and we'll see how long it lasts.
It's a nice reminder. When it's always out on the table, you never forget it.
Exactly.
Back to Giant Eagle, they're stocking this product. They should be really trying to promote this because they don't have to worry about their stuff going bad on the shelves.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. They can't screw it up because there doesn't appear to be a Best Buy or an expiration date on it, so there's no way for them to fuck that up this time.
Why are they hiding it on the, obscure places? They should have this front and center.
Front and center. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and one other interesting thing I wanted to kind of point out, we were just trying one of the sauces in the lineup, but as we saw earlier on the website, they actually have a few other sauces. This one here is just called the Pickapeppa sauce, but there are some other like blends, it almost looks like.
Well, they definitely are going with the fruit theme here. They've got a hot mango sauce, spicy mango sauce, and then a gingery mango sauce. So they're definitely like... playing up that mango concentrate on all of these Pickapeppa different sauce versions. Now, did you see these at the Giant?
No, I only saw this one, the John Eagle. And this one here actually also has the mango concentrate. We mentioned it as well. So I imagine they're just choosing certain elements of this sauce to play up. And I don't know if it needs it really, but I mean, that's cool that they have other options.
Certainly native to Jamaica, the mango.
Yeah, exactly.
They got enough of them.
Nice. I know I have an uncle who lives down in Florida, and he literally just goes by the nickname of Mango.
Oh, nice.
He's happy to climb your tree and knock down and take your mangoes from you, because he would just process them down. I don't know if you ever cut up a raw mango before, or a natural fruit mango. They have a giant seed in the middle. They're kind of very fibrous, tough fruit to cut, so you kind of have to like wait for them to ripen up. I remember helping lay out a bunch of newspapers and setting out 100 mangoes on tables to let them ripen up. And then we'd get these big bowls. My uncle would have a big spoon, and we would cut them in half and get them to separate, and then he would use a spoon and just scoop right along the
rind.
the rind, the skin of the mango, and get out like a big half mangoes, and then we just fill these bowls and cut them all up. We had a whole mango party. It was fun.
You can actually eat the unripe mangoes too. They kind of taste like a green apple. They'll give you a stomach ache if you eat too many of them, but because they're, like I said, they're not mature.
So will ripe ones.
Well, that's fair too.
Yeah, I'll bet.
One other thing I found of interest on the website was that you had mentioned earlier about using it on ice cream, Eric, and they specifically say on here, it is often said that it can be used on everything except ice cream.
And Scotch whiskey.
And Scotch whiskey. They specifically, and actually, I'd take a little bit of umbrage with that as well, because to me, a lot of these flavors would incorporate pretty well with the Scotch whiskey, I think. I mean, I probably wouldn't be mixing. I don't think making Scotch and making a mixed drink go together, but I could see this being, if you had to pick a sauce to go with it, I guess this would be acceptable.
It does say some may even debate this, so I think I'm willing to be one of those few.
One of the debaters, huh?
That's right.
Where'd your handler get off to? We need to call him back.
Yeah. Where'd they go?
Rein you back in. Yeah.
Where'd they go?
Where did they go? All right, well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up this week for our review on the Pickapeppa, sauce out of Jamaica, man.
There is a fifth sauce actually here on the header.
Oh, yeah, you're right, there is.
There's a hot version.
Well, they said hot earlier, didn't they?
No, all we talked about was
the hot pepper sauce.
The hot pepper sauce, yeah. The fifth one.
I'm going back. We're going to fact check it. Oh, yeah, you're right. There's just a straight up hot sauce as well.
Spicy jerk marinade? What are they hiding this stuff from us?
Well, I think that was a recipe that they were calling out earlier.
Okay.
All right.
But anyways, did you have any closing thoughts that you want to leave us there with this week, Eric?
Oh, I do actually. I have an update. I want to know how it's
Sauce Spoken Rewind.
Yeah.
Version 2.
How's your little bud? How's your little bud? You took him to the vet, and you left us all hanging there last episode. You talked about how you did take him, and we didn't hear any updates. So.
Oh well, he's fine.
Good.
Of course, he's fine. They gave him a tranquilizer shot and a anti-inflammatory shot. He was out the rest of the day. When of course, I was holding him. The vet tech came in along with the doctor vet. I handed over my little boy, and he pissed and pissed and pissed like you wouldn't believe. He pissed all over the doctor. He pissed all over the vet tech. It was all over the little, examination bench.
Yeah, it's tricky. I feel where you're coming from. We've been trying to train Eric out of that habit for how many months now? Every time we come over here, it's just like a puppy, and he's all over his floor. That's why we have to record at his house, because we got tired of cleaning up the piss at our house.
I just get so excited for soft spoken.
Yeah, but my little boy's fine. He's marching around. Yeah, he's right as rain. I think he just needed to just rest it a little bit.
Maybe he just had a really full bladder. That's what he was looking for.
I mean, my heart broke for him, and I don't, I'm sure he was all a bundle of nerves, and that's rightfully so. I'm not going to cut him a break on that, but honest to goodness, I think the poor thing just couldn't hold it.
Yeah.
He had breakfast, so I always put a little water in with his breakfast, and he was just probably ready to pop, the poor thing. But
no, I was speculating that's what was causing the limp in the first place. He had an overly full bladder.
Oh no, that boy knows how to use his box, thank goodness. But thank you for asking. The little boy is doing just fine.
All right. Well, on that note, it's good to know that. Unless you have someone else you wanted to add there.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So on that note, I'm just glad to glad to still be here doing episodes and trying new sauces, and happy that we still have listeners. So
yeah.
Let's not go that far. We haven't verified that yet for this episode. What about you, Tori? You got any closing thoughts you want to leave us with?
Oh, boy. I think I do. So, yeah, of course, Pickapeppa sauce, hailing from Jamaica. I mentioned it before. Of course, Jamaica has a very near and dear place to my heart. I may even consider it a paradise. Maybe one of many paradise CCCCCs, whatever. Yeah.
Parrot dice.
Parrot dice.
Or multiple, the point I'm making is whatever your paradise may be, whether it be a hot beach on a nice day, whether it be hanging out with your family or friends or reading a book or hanging out with your kitty cat, you got to make a point, or rolling some dice, whatever it may be. I mean, you got to find your paradise. Jamaica is certainly one of mine. So yeah, I encourage you to go out and find a paradise, find some peace in your life, find some relaxation, because you deserve it. And thank you for listening, as always.
That's great. And lastly, Tori's given up the sauce for Lent. If you guys want to chime in with what you guys are giving up for Lent, hopefully it's not listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
Feel free to hit us up and leave us a little comment on YouTube's or on the YouTubes, or give us a little written review on your favorite written listening platform, if that's an iTunes, or give us a follow on Spotify or something like that if you're interested in listening to us on there. Or if you want, you can just send us a straight up email at saucespoken@gmail.com and just tell us why you stopped listening to us. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that'll do it for us this week, and thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Wow, hey, what a show. Don't forget to drop us a line. Our email is saucespoken@gmail.com. Why don't you stop on by on Twitter? We're at Sauce Spoken. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a recommendation or a request. We'd be happy to hear from you. And finally, on Instagram, we take goofy pictures every once in a while. We like to throw them on there. That's going to be Sauce Spoken Official. Please share us with your family and friends. Give us a review, a subscription. It would be an honor. Or just a little note down there at the bottom. Just let us know how we're doing. That would be terrific. But we are Sauce Spoken. Once again, really glad to have you here tonight. Thanks for listening.